This is Purpose City, Stories of Humanity in Action, presented by Executive Wealth Management. Guests on Purpose City do not necessarily reflect an endorsement of Executive Wealth Management.
The core values of Executive Wealth Management are trust, community, compassion. That's what this podcast is all about. Every episode we have, every guest we have falls under that umbrella somehow. So how does that play, guys, into Executive Wealth Management as a firm in the business or the day-to-day?
Well, for me, a long time ago, I came across a statement by somebody. I can't remember who it was, but it hit me, and it's always stuck with me. It was doing well by doing good. And that would fall under our community. And community, you can try and define it as much as you can. It's kind of one of those ethereal things for me. But if you're really trying to just put a spot on it, it's the folks I work with, their families, and then the people that live around us in the community that I actually live in. And so I can do well by doing good for those communities.
Good. What about you, Todd? Like community, how does community work in a financial firm or in the way you do business?
Yeah, I think it comes down and it's that whole golden rule. It's treat people, how you would want to be treated. And, whether it's our employees, it's, our clients, it's our community. It's just showing, that value. And I think our firm does a really good job of that. And whether it's various things throughout the community, time, resources, whatever that may be. But I think we not only talk about it, we actually do it. And the time that I've been with the firm, I've really seen that and see, us getting out in the community, being with others, and just kind of seeing that connection is really good to see.
Yeah. So when you do with money, trust is huge. How do you know a financial planner you can trust?
A litany of questions. Do not be afraid to ask them.
Yes.
Ask them repeatedly with a variety of advisors. And let's say that they all answer the same and they all sound about the same. Then you got to trust your gut. That person that you sat in front of that kind of gave you the willies, don't use that one. The person that seemed to take the time to explain, to be clear, and to not confuse you with industry jargon to try and sound better than what they are. You don't want that. So trust your gut.
Someone that's managing your money, that's a real relationship, right? Kind of like your accountant or something of that nature, your attorney. That's kind of why these circles go hand in hand with money management and stuff of that nature. So, for me, I have no problem, trying to, like when the client comes and sits in front of you, that they've seen a couple advisors before, they worked with somebody and they kind of get in the dog and pony show a little bit. I've had a lot of clients in the middle of meetings say, I've never heard anybody talk to me like that before, or like talk about the economy like that before, or about finance like in this objective way. A lot of people say, I've had advisors that told me just stay in the market and everything will be fine. And just got to look at the long term. The last 50 years, the S&P's been up for so long. Well, that's an easy way out. It's a cop-out for an advisor to say, just hold it, just hold your assets. What about tax harvesting and stuff of that nature and going into planning at the year end and doing conversions and really being in your back pocket to make sure that we're getting the most tax-efficient dollar out of your retirement all the time? I mean, there has to be ongoing planning and ongoing conversations. So you look for something a little different from that advisor when you're talking to them. But you steer away from the ones that are just trying to just kind of show you their product or their brochure, what they have to offer. They need to take a second to understand who you are and ask a lot of opening questions and, make sure that they talk to you about how their company operates and stuff of that nature. But you can kind of get a sense of people pretty fast. So,
Sure.
Yeah, you got about 10, 15 seconds.
Go.
Yeah.
So I was at the dentist and I'm getting teeth cleaned and being asked all these questions and trying to answer them. And one of it, what do you do? Where do you work? And
Hate that.
It's
the worst.
It is the worst. But she was finally able to understand, I work for Executive Wealth Management. It's work with wealth advisors. And then she says, well, I don't handle any of the family's money. My husband does that. He doesn't need advisors. He uses an app. So why would somebody like that, or why would anybody need an advisor as opposed to doing it themselves, almost kind of on a hobby level?
Well, I've played both ends of this fence here. In my career, I've dealt with people who are totally self-directed and those who have had a measure of both. And you're going to run into some folks, they just want you, the advisor, to steer the boat completely, just take over. You got to bring them in and keep them involved. And at the other end of the spectrum, you got the completely and totally self-directed. And I've always told them, if you have the time, will, and skill to do it, and you need all three, go ahead. But most folks are lacking on one of those three, and most often it's time. And that's where I would tell them, keep a piece of your assets, and you go ahead and swing for the fences, and we'll manage the overall portfolio makeup outside of what you're doing, so that it's done in a very repeatable, responsible fashion. So that's the way I've historically dealt with it, and it's been with a measure of success.
That's a great point with the three, and it's the time, but I would say it's the skill too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, knowledge.
You don't know what you don't know. And so in our industry, I mean, like a lot of industries, things change. I mean, maybe not every day, but there's tax law changes, there's retirement changes, there's, look at the changes that came out in the last 18 months with the pandemic. It's, so do you have the time and the skill to stay on top of all that? And, I think what advisors like us can bring to the table is, you're looking for those efficiencies, and that's stuff we look at every day. And so if we can, look at your situation and add a little bit of efficiencies, that can go a long way.
Yeah.
And so again, it might not be, maybe it's not in your investments, but maybe it's in your retirement planning. Maybe it's helping you with Social Security. It's all these other factors that add into this. And if you don't have the time to do it, it's, maybe it's worth looking at somebody that can partner with you to, again, it's kind of a peace of mind that, look, we're staying on top of this every single day.
The most expensive investment mistakes you can make are in retirement. You're in those later ages, and not knowing where to pull money from what sources and stuff like that. Should I pay my house off? What do you do with, pay it off with your IRA and pay taxes and to pay your house off? Yeah, you can be educated all you want, but there's going to come a day where you want to get affirmation that what your decision making that you just made to refinance your house or to convert money to a Roth was a good idea. Maybe you did that decision by yourself, but you're always going to be talking about that with your friends or family to get an affirmation that this is like, oh, that's a good idea, I should do that too. Well, what if you had a coach in your corner that you could bounce that idea off of? You're still the quarterback. You're making all you're making all the decisions on the field. You're calling the audibles and stuff like that. We're telling you what we think, but on the field, you make that play. And so that's what the relationship comes down to. We're going to give you all the roadmaps to what we think makes sense right now.
Absolutely.
And I think that is, for the advice that we do above and beyond, performance is one thing in the portfolio, but the advice that we give year in and year out is worth a nominal fee to grow wealth, to protect it too.
We look like sports announcers here,
Yes.
and Rob keeps giving sports analogies. It feels a little real.
Sports ball.
2005, I started working for, at the time, a small independent wealth management firm. And one of the nice things about working for a smaller company is you can have your hands in a lot of different areas. And so it wasn't just the investment piece of it, it was the retirement planning and the tax planning. And really, at the end of the day, just let us give better advice. I started at EWM because you have the support and resources of a larger firm, but it's still a team environment that I enjoy. The values and the mission here and the whole build, defend, and advance not only clients' portfolios, but their financial plans going forward. With the background I have, I'm passionate about really taking that holistic view of a client's financial situation and adding simplicity, adding efficiencies throughout their financial life. An example that I can think of is a client comes to us and they may have accounts all over the place. Nobody's helped simplify their life and add efficiencies where we can. And I think once clients see that, they really have a sense of relief and a confidence in working with an advisor that is going to be transparent with them and really look at the holistic picture. Proactively be there for clients that they know we have their best interests in mind. It's a win-win. Feel free to give me a call, or you can contact us at EWMadvisors.com.
My name is Robert Larsen, private wealth advisor with Executive Wealth Management. And I wanted to get into financial services right out of college. I graduated right before the recession. And when that hit, I was brand new into the corporate America, working at a big bank. And I saw the impact it had on many businesses, many families, my own family. And I realized I want to be in the know in my industry. I want to know what's going on in the markets and why things react the way they do. I believe the key to any type of success is to have a plan. Many families, young professionals, kids out of college, many business owners as well, everybody has different goals. We're here to help create peace of mind. Whatever your goals happen to be, whatever phase of life you're in, it's more than our fiduciary responsibility. It's who we are. Build, defend, advance. If this aligns with what you believe and you're interested to hear more, give me a call.